All right, so once you're done, you can look up. So hopefully on one you said 7 negatives and 10 more negatives, 17 negatives, answer negative 17, right? Now, you don't need to show that work past doing this worksheet because you're doing that in your brain, right? This is what you're thinking. We're writing it now to help us think it later when it's a quiz or test. Again, here we got 9 negatives plus 6 negatives, grand total 15 negatives. That's what you think. And past the worksheet, you're able just to write negative 15. So number 3, again, you should be thinking 4 negatives plus 21 more negatives. That's a total of 25 negatives. Answer negative 25. How many went 3 for 3? Okay, now again, that's something where you should be able to go 100%. And all you're doing is adding up how many. The key is you have to understand when you see that type of a problem, you're adding negatives. If you understand that, you're in great shape. But again, if you think negative 9 subtract 6, good luck with that, all right? That is not what you want to think. You want to think 9 negatives, 6 more negatives, total of 15 negatives, and away you go. Now, how many of you already started the bottom section? Raise your hand for me. Okay? And I told you guys not to do that. And I want you to follow my directions, and that's important, okay? I want to do things in sections, and so I want you to do them a certain way. So I want you now to do, don't start yet, I want you to do 1, 2, and 3, but I want you to do it the first way, with writing that amount of negatives, that amount of positives, canceling out the same amounts and seeing what you have left. That's how I want you to do 1, 2, 3. Okay? So go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pause the video. Negative 4 for the second one and negative 2 for the third. How many got those 3 correct? Okay? All right. Now I want you to do just number 4 and stop before we do 5 and 6. Do it still with the positive negative thing. Do number 4 with the positive negative thing, and then just stop. Just do number 4. When you're done, look up so I know you're done. When you're done, look up for me. Okay, so you should have done this. 2 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter how you draw the 7 negatives. You should have done that, and you should have said negative 5. How many got negative 5? Okay. So now you got to be careful to be able to do that when you're not writing the positives and you're not writing the negatives. But let's finish 5 and 6 that way. And go ahead and do 5 and 6 with writing the positives and negatives. 5 and 6 with writing the positive and negatives. Negative 3, negative 7. Agreed? Okay. Now, 7, 8, and 9, I want to do in our heads, right? Because look, it's too long to write 35 negatives. Agreed? It's just too many. So when we get to this point, now we got to start doing it the way we learned in our head, right? And so on 7, you should be thinking the 4 positives wipe out 4 of the 35 negatives. So if I count from 4 to 35, I'll count how many negatives are left. So how much is it to go from 4 to 35? 31. So it must be negative 31, right? All right, do that with 8 and 9. Go ahead and do 8 and 9. Okay, number 8, will the answer be positive or negative, class? Negative, because you have more negatives. All right, how many negatives are left? 35 of them, right? Negative 35. 12 of them wiped out, 12 of the 47. There's 35 left, right? Number 9, positive or negative answer? Positive, and how many positives are left? 14. The answer is 14, right? Don't miss on counting, okay? Don't make that mistake. All right, that would be a shame. All right? Not a problem. Let's go to the back. Okay. So now on the back, first I want to do the left-hand side. And I want you guys right now to do 1 through 10. And a lot of this will be mental and won't need much work. But for example, for number 1, I would show at least 1 step of work, right? All right, go ahead and do just the left side, 1 through 10. Go ahead and do 1 through 10. One through 10. All right, stay with me, okay? Focus. So number 1, hopefully you did minus a minus is a plus, right? And so hopefully you wrote 14, right? All right, the answer to number 2, will it be positive or negative? Think now and answer my questions. Is 2 going to be positive or negative? Positive. Has to be positive. There's no more positives than negatives, so 7. How many got that correct? Okay. Number 3, is the answer going to be positive or negative? Because they're both negatives, and you're adding up how many, and I hope you said negative 18, right? Negative 18. Number 4, is the answer going to be positive or negative? And the answer is? Negative 3. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's see if what you watched today helped. Number 5, is the answer going to be positive or negative? And how many?
Negative 11.
Negative 11. How many got that correct? Okay, and that's the one a lot of you missed on the quiz, right? That type. So again, we just got to make sure we recognize it. Keep the sign with the number. We're good. All right, so number 6 is going to be positive, and there's 17 of them left, so positive 17, right? 30 of them, and 14 more of them is 44 of the negatives, right? Number 8, we got minus the minus, but now we still have a negative and a plus. And there's more negatives than positives, and how many are left? 30. How many got 8 correct? Number 8, all right? Negative 30. Oh, there's that problem again with 9. There's more negatives than positives. It's going to be negative. How many negatives are left? 8, negative 8, right? Number 10, you got more positives than negatives. It's going to be positive. How many are left? 17. Number 11, minus a minus is a plus. Huh? Did I say 10?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do 11 right now. 17 positives and 21 negatives leaves you? Negative 4, right? How many went 10 for 10? Let me see your hands. You went 10 for 10. Beautiful. Take note of the things that's giving you trouble. And if it's counting, all right, you got to take care of your counting issues. All right? That I can't help you with. All right? That's back to like 2nd grade and 3rd grade. All right? Use your fingers if you need to. Okay, now on the right-hand side, some of these are going to be multiplying. Some of them are going to be adding. So you got to be careful, right? Do multiplying to the multiplying, do adding to the adding, do 1 through 11 on the right-hand side. Go ahead and do those. Okay, so number 1 is, class?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Number 2 is negative 12. That's not multiplication. 5 negatives and 7 more negatives. Negative 12. How many had negative 12? So you got to think. You got to look. Is that multiplication? No, that's addition. Don't be trying to multiply when you're adding. Number 3. All right, here's the one that usually gets you. Class on 3, give me your answer. 1, 2, 3.
Negative 30.
Negative 30 are left, right? That's 14 positives and 44 negatives. There are 30 negatives left. Number 4 is? Negative 20. Number 5 is?
Negative 46.
Negative 46. Now, what operation are we doing on 6, class? Multiplication. Something written next to a parentheses is multiplication. Look at the difference of 5 and 6. You see the difference? That's in between in 5, and it's not in 6. This is a multiplication. That's 40. How many got that correct? All right. Good. Therefore, number 7, class, the answer is negative 28. Now, are we multiplying on 8? We're adding, right? And that's going to give you what?
Negative 36.
Negative 36. What about 9?
Negative 43.
Negative 43 left. Number 10?
Negative 39.
Negative 39 left. Here's how I do 11. That's a negative 4. That's a 4. 4 positives and 19 negatives leaves me 15 negatives. Anybody go 11 for 11? Who went 11 for 11? Awesome. Who went at least 10 out of 11? So 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 11. Okay? Good job. Excellent. All right. So that's the review. We got to be perfect on positives and negative numbers. Now, don't pack up, stop, freeze, watch. I've got a worksheet for you tonight. Well, no, I don't. I have a homework assignment, but I'm giving you this sheet because it's not in your notes with the numbers, so you'll know the numbers. So it's page 12, 3, 4, 7, 8. 10, 12, 25, 24, 26, 30, 39, 40. Now, make sure you're showing some steps where you have to and need to. Make sure you're checking your odds. Look what this says. I'm going to give you this in a minute. Don't write it. Stop. Why do you have stuff in your hand? I already told you to stop and freeze. You guys have obedience problems? Because I can get you out of that. I know a way to get you out of obedience problems. Okay? When I say to do something, that's what I expect you to do. Okay, so notice it says check odds on the back of the sheet. These odds aren't on the back of your notes, so I provided them for you on the back of the sheet. So when you get this sheet, this is the bottom of the front, but this is the bottom of the back. And it's upside down, but here's the odds of the ones I assigned on the bottom of your sheet, so you can check your odds so you practice getting them correct, right? Okay. Now, one other thing. Though I'm going to pass one out to everybody, everybody doesn't need to do this assignment. Everybody take one. If you want to do it, you're welcome to, but those of you that got an A on the quiz, that's a 93 or above, you do not have to do this assignment if you don't want to. You're good already. You know what you're doing. Those of you that didn't get an A, you're not quite there, you need to practice. Okay? And those of you that got an A, you will get 100 on this assignment tomorrow. You already are good, you know what you're doing. So if you got an A, you don't need to do this. You've demonstrated you know what's going on. And we just practiced a little more for you today. But if you don't have that A yet, remember, we got to be excellent at our positive and negative number. Any questions, anybody? Right. I would just keep it with your quizzes and notes and stuff. All right? And you're dismissed.